मैंने आज कांग्रेस वर्किंग कमेटी, कांग्रेस की प्राइमरी मेंबरशिप और हमारे जो लेजिस्लेटिव पार्टी है उसका भी इस्तीफा मैंने आज पार्टी को सुपुर्द किया है।
What went wrong? Who was he upset about? We don't know. He'll himself tell you what happened.
संसदेमध्ये सुद्धा आपल्या माननीय पंतप्रधानांनी भाषण केलं, अबकी बार एवढे पार, अबकी बार तेवढे पार, एवढे असतील पार तर मग फोडाफोडी का करताय? म्हणजे तुमच्यामध्ये आत्मविश्वास नाहीये, तुम्ही 400 पार काय 40 पार पण नाही होणार।
कौन कौन हमारे संपर्क में है इसका खुलासा धीरे धीरे आपको होगा, तो मेरा आपको इतना ही कहना है, आगे आगे देखिए होता है क्या।
All right, so the Mahavikas Aghadi in Maharashtra, which used to rule the government there up until some time back, it's been a series of events which have weakened the MVA, and that too critically ahead of the 2024 election. Back in June of 2022, what happened was the Shiv Sena, which was the largest party in the MVA, it splits right down the middle. In June 2022, Eknath Shinde, one of the leaders in Mumbai of the Shiv Sena, he revolts against the Chief Minister. He runs away with a bunch of MLAs. The MVA government falls at the end of June in 2022. And then Shinde, with his band of MLAs, comes over to Mumbai. He takes oath as the Chief Minister, and his faction, the Shinde faction of the Shiv Sena, joins the NDA. In 2023 July, something similar happens, this time with the NCP, which is the third wheel of this triangle called the MVA or the Mahavikas Aghadi. Ajit Pawar, the nephew of Sharad Pawar, splits the NCP. He too becomes a deputy chief minister. In July of 2023, many NCP MLAs join the Shinde-led NDA government, which now has Fadnavis of the BJP, Shinde of the Shinde Sena, and of course Ajit Pawar of the NCP. Then earlier this year, in January of 2024, the Speaker of the House, Rahul Narvekar, recognizes the Shinde faction as the real Shiv Sena. On the 14th of January, on the day that Rahul Gandhi was beginning his Bharat Jodo Nyaya Yatra from Manipur, Milind Deora, one of his close friends, aides, somebody who's been a minister in the previous UPA government, he resigns from the Congress and joins the Shinde Sena. And February 2024, the Election Commission grants the NCP symbol, which is the clock, to the Ajit Pawar faction. February 12th, former Chief Minister Ashok Chavan today resigns from the Congress party. No one is saying, or at least he's certainly not saying where he's going to, but everybody is speculating that he will be joining the BJP very soon. Joining us now on the talking point, Tuhin Sinha is national spokesperson of the BJP, Waris Pathan, spokesperson of the MIM, Shama Mohammed, national spokesperson of the Congress Party, Manisha Alawat, spokesperson of the RLD. Dr. Shama Mohammed, let me start with you first. One after another, since the Bharat Jodo Nyaya Yatra began, Milind Deora quit, Baba Siddiqui has quit. Mamata Banerjee saying she's going to fight on her own. Yesterday, Kejriwal saying AAP will fight on its own. What is going on at a time when the Congress should be holding its closest leaders as close as possible and bringing all its allies together? It seems like as the Nyaya Yatra progresses, one after another leader is leaving the Congress party.
No, I think that is very unfortunate for you to say that as the Nyaya Yatra is progressing. We had a Bharat Jodo Yatra before, and at that time I still remember that we had lost by-election in Telangana, if you recall. And that was when the Yatra was happening. So the effect of the Yatra doesn't happen immediately. But not even a year, less than a year, we won Telangana. And let me tell you, before reaching there, 3 months before the Telangana election, it was BRS on top, BJP, and then came the Congress. So yes, we know how to up the game. There are definitely issues. It's unfortunate, I must say, when people leave, and that to senior leader. But we know what to do. We are strong right now. There will be hiccups. We knew that. And also in terms of the alliance.
Dr. Shama Mohammed, pardon me if I may, it's not just any leader who's leaving. This is a former chief minister of one of the biggest states, in fact, the second biggest state in the country when it comes to Lok Sabha seats. A former chief minister is leaving. That is a problem.
Yeah. No. I mean, a former chief minister leaving, it's his decision. And you had Shatrughan Sinha, Yashwant Sinha, Babu Supriyo. Many of them left also.
None of them were
Arun
former
Gaur-
chief ministers.
See, former chief ministers or not, I don't look at it that way. I look at it when party people leave. So there has been in from the BJP also, there has been an outflow. Let's understand that. So we need to understand also that, the Bharatiya Janata Party uses various weapons, muscle power, money power, and the other thing is the ED. So everybody, there is an ED gun put onto them, IT.
Okay.
Just for example, I'll give you two examples.
No, but in the
Now,
case of Ashok Chavan, what was the ED gun put to his head?
So I'm not saying that. I'm just saying generally. For example, we never said Ajit Pawar is corrupt, right? We never said that. He was with us as an alliance partner. They were the one Prime Minister of India 3 weeks before Ajit Pawar became their alliance partner in Madhya Pradesh said that Ajit Pawar is corrupt, and usko 70,000 crore, 70,000 crore irrigation scam nahi ho. So there is a Prime Minister who talks about it. There is the Devendra Fadnavis, Deputy Prime Minister. They were having investigations. They send the ED, everything possible. All right. Now, what happens is the minute he joins the party, everything is quiet. He stops becoming corrupt. It's the same way.
Okay.
One more thing. It's the same way in Meghalaya.
Okay.
Before the election, Amit Shah said NPP and Conrad Sangma corrupt. When we come back to power, it was in their manifesto that we will put them behind bars after we come back to power. After the election result came out, they got to...
Forget about Meghalaya. I want to focus on Maharashtra. Let me ask Tuin Sinha. I want to take you back to 2009-10, Tuin Sinha. And since you are from Mumbai, I'm sure you don't forget those events. The BJP was at the forefront of railing and ranting against Ashok Chavan, who at that time was chief minister. And a few years later, he had to step down in the Adarsh Housing Society scam. And at that time, I remember the BJP celebrated as a big victory, saying, look, we've got a corrupt person to step down. Is all of that forgotten now? Are all those allegations kosher? Has he become clean and white and pure in the washing machine of the BJP, as the opposition alleges?
Well, good evening, Zaka. We have a zero tolerance approach towards corruption that continues to be a policy. So, but number one, at this point of time, we don't know where Ashok Chavan is headed. The important point over here is that everybody who's serious about a political future wants to come out of a sunken ship. And mind you, today Congress is a sunken ship. Shama Mohammed may profess her loyalty, or maybe, she's short of options. She might, consider joining AIMIM. But point is that anybody who eyes a future today, and why is Congress in such a position? Because of three things: the anti-Sanatan approach, that, inability to think in the interests of the country. This is the same party that was lampooning Prime Minister Modi 4 months ago on the issue of, the conviction of the of the 8 Navy men. Today, they don't have the basic courtesy or the basic grace to congratulate the government of the day, which has played a very crucial role in getting
that's our
the
second
8
debate
Navy
tonight.
men
Let's
out.
focus on the
So
first.
I think,
Tuin, answer my
these
question.
Are the issues.
Answer my question. Presuming
So
that
I think
Ashok
Chavan,
Chavan is joining your party, are the corruption allegations against him forgotten?
So number one, it would be hypothetical for me to comment on it right away. But having said that, we don't believe in political untouchability. We believe that every saint has a past and every sinner a future. Fact is that corruption has been the culture of the Congress party. But the same people, when they join other parties, and especially the BJP, dare not venture into acts of corruption. So I think, it's about the party culture, and BJP always has had a zero tolerance towards corruption.
Ask him about Meghalaya.
Okay,
Ask him about
once again, the
Meghalaya.
debate is not on Meghalaya, it's on Maharashtra. Let me ask Waris Pathan. One second.
Are you the anchor?
One second. Let me decide how to
proceed
with
the anchor
this
from
debate.
now?
Let me ask Waris Pathan. Waris Pathan, the issue is, corruption, yes, it's certainly an issue, and I asked Tuin Sinha, are these allegations going to be whitewashed? But the bigger issue is, 2 months before a general election, Congress party, which is the principal opposition party, should be leading the fight against the BJP, one after another. Look at the people who are leaving. Like I said, Milind Deora leaves, then Baba Siddiqui leaves. And it's not just about people leaving. Nitish Kumar leaves, joins the NDA. All of that can't be brushed aside saying, BJP is using IT, ED, CBI, etc. Maybe they are. But all of these people who are leaving, they're also political players. They're also politically astute. Maybe they are reading the tea leaves. Maybe they are seeing which way the winds are blowing politically. That's why they are joining. Aris Pathan.
Well, Zaka, good evening to you and to my fellow panelist. In Maharashtra, there is a khela hobe going on in Maharashtra. There's a pattern going on. The Congress leaders, one by one, are resigning. One of the Congress leaders goes and joins the Shinde faction. The other goes and joins the Ajit Dada faction. Now today what we saw is Ashok Chavan, the present sitting MLA, ex-Chief Minister of Maharashtra, and the person who was very much involved in the INDI alliance meeting every day. Now he resigns, and what we hear from the media and everything, that he will be joining the BJP. And these were the so-called secular people, Zaka. Time and again, they were terming us as B team of the BJP. Now today the entire country, the entire nation is watching who is the actual B team of the BJP. These are the people. Now where are the champions of secularism? Why are they quiet today? Why no word of things from them? Nothing. They won't say that. That is why we say first when you point one finger to another, four fingers go towards you. Today everybody is watching in Maharashtra, and BJP is making statements after statement that there is a queue going on. Lots of people will be joining in the coming few days. That is why we say in the name of secularism you took votes. You cheated the people of Maharashtra, you took their vote. They thought, okay, they are secular people, we will vote for them. But what happened now? You took their votes, went to the BJP. So the people of Maharashtra will definitely give you a befitting reply. Secondly, Ajit Dada, I'll speak about them. Modi just few days prior to Ajit Pawar joining the BJP has said that thousands of crores ka ghotala karne wala, unka naam he took it and said. But what happens when he goes there? The BJP has become a washing machine. Whosoever comes there, washing powder, nirma, he becomes clean. That is why people are going there. But here, irony is that Ashok Chavan was not having any cases against him. Yes, Adarsh was there. That time, as you rightly said in the your commentary, that time BJP was shouting that we took the step and saw to it that he is now removed as the Chief Minister. But here the face of the so-called secularism is totally exposed.
Okay.
They termed us as BJP. I am on that. I will harp on that time and again. Why do you level a business allegation against us? And what answer will you give to the people of Maharashtra now? You took the votes in the name of, I am asking the Congress spokesperson. You took the votes in the name of secularism. You cheated the entire
secularism
secular
is not a glue anymore.
Now we are going with the BJP.
Secularism is not a glue anymore, and I'll tell you why.
सत्ता की लालच, what we call in Hindi, सत्ता की
मैं आपको बताता हूँ क्यों नहीं है. Because हमारा अगले जो मेहमान हैं, the next guest on the panel is Manisha Ahlawat from the RLD, a party till last week was with the India Alliance. In fact, they had formally announced 7 seats sharing with the Samajwadi Party, after which today आपके नेता जयंत चौधरी ने ये कंफर्म भी कर दिया कि आप एनडीए के साथ जा रहे हैं. तो वारिस पठान को भी जवाब दे दीजिए और शमा मोहम्मद को भी जवाब दे दीजिए. एक तो ये सेक्युलरिज्म का जो नारा आप लोगों ने लगाया था समाजवादी पार्टी के साथ, बाकी पार्टियों के साथ, क्या वो बंद हो गया आज से? और दूसरी बात, क्या ये बीजेपी का कुछ वॉशिंग मशीन है जहां जिनके खिलाफ करप्शन का एलिगेशन है वो सब साफ हो जाते हैं जैसे जैसे वो बीजेपी के साथ हाथ मिला देते हैं?
Thank you, Zaka. First, good evening to all my fellow panelists here. And let me clarify that I am not going to be answering for what is currently happening in the government and whatever their decisions are, because we are not part of the government yet. We are forming an alliance for the upcoming elections. And second, I think we must give credit to this government who had the foresight and they recognized the legacy, the huge legacy of Chaudhry Charan Singh ji, and conferred a Bharat Ratna on him. So I think nobody else, none of the other governments in the past recognized this, and they didn't recognize the impact this would have on the farmer community. So across the nation, and I should say specifically across the farmer community, the mood has become very positive towards the government, that if they can do this, maybe they can do more.
But Manisha ji, then please tell me, why are farmers coming to Delhi border from tomorrow if they are so happy with the government? What will you tell them?
So, yes, so I said no, we will tell them that if we are in the government, we will be able to do more. We know enough times we have sat on the streets and we haven't gotten anything. And the so-called farmer leaders, they they finished off the protest last time without any concrete decisions. Like, are they so naive that they would take a verbal promise and then end the protest? Where is the strategy? So I think we need more farmers representatives in the parliament, and it is high time.
No, but
that
Manisha ji,
our
please
leader,
explain to me.
Jayant Chaudhary ji
Till last week, before the Bharat Ratna announcement, you were with the Samajwadi Party, you were with the India Alliance. Jayant Chaudhary ji attended all of the India Alliance meetings. In a space of 3 or 4 days, all that has changed because Bharat Ratna was announced for Chaudhary Charan Singh. How will you explain to your voter कि आप सालों साल आप एक अलायंस को वोट देते आ रहे हैं, अब हमने दल बदल चुके हैं, तो अब आप दूसरे दल के लिए दे दीजिए जिनको हम गाली दे रहे थे पिछले 5, 10, 20 साल से.
So we have not changed our stand. We have been struggling and fighting for the farmers' rights, for the rights of the youth of this country, and we will continue to do that. We have just chosen a different route, and I think we have full faith in our leader. I think Jayant Chaudhary ji has a plan, has a strategy, and I think we should have faith in him. And our voters will understand. They already do.
Dr. Shama Mohammed, here you have a political party. I mean, forget about what is happening in your party and what leaders are leaving. Here is a party that was your ally till last week. And one move, and they've decided that, look, there's no point hitching their wagons to the India Alliance. It doesn't seem like it's, putting on a united show against Mr. Modi. Because Mamata Banerjee has said that she's going to fight on her own. Mr. Kejriwal says he's going to fight on his own. Then what is the point of this India Alliance? So parties like the RLD are happy to leave, to dump the India Alliance and join the NDA. They probably see better political prospects there. You can't blame them.
Before I come to that, I just want to answer to Tuhin. Tuhin says, she has no choice. She has to join AIMM. Shame on you, Tuhin Sinha. Just because I'm a Muslim, I can only join a Muslim party. Shame on you. You should not even be a spokesperson. You should be chucked out right from the studio.
So they consider
because that's
us
a polarizing way of talking. No, you cannot. Why can't, just because AIMM is a Muslim party.
Waris Padhan, you need to answer this. Are you specifically only a Muslim party?
No, shame on you. Now, another point.
No, you're drawing insinuation.
Let me, I did not interrupt him, so why are you not stopping him, Zaka?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Let me finish. Yeah. Then he says corruption is in our blood. Let me tell you, no congressman has ever been convicted.
Culture.
The only leader I know from convicted is your Yedurappa. Yedurappa was convicted in 2011 by the Lokayukta court and has been in prison. So please, you tell me who's a Congress leader who's been convicted. Convicted. Going to jail by, sending us to jail by your ED is different thing. But conviction, you have to be convicted. No Congress leader. You tell me one name. There is no name. So don't tell corruption is in our blood. Corruption is in your blood. All right. You take everybody and then, like a washing machine, it becomes clean. Now to Waris Pathan ji. आप बोलते हो कि कौन है सेक्युलर, कौन नहीं है सेक्युलर. मुझे आपसे पूछना है कि आप तो 9 सीट लड़ते हो तेलंगाना में और 90 सीट लड़ते हो यूपी में. आपको पैसे कहां से आते हो? आप गोशा महल में राजा सिंह जो बीजेपी का लीडर है उनके खिलाफ कैंडिडेट नहीं, क्यों नहीं है कैंडिडेट? बीजेपी का जुबली हिल्स में अजहरुद्दीन के खिलाफ जो कांग्रेस है उसके खिलाफ कैंडिडेट है. तो कौन किसके साथ हमको भी पता है. AIM हमको सब पता है कि आप अंदर से बाहर से सभी जगह से आप मिला हुआ है भारतीय जनता पार्टी. सो मुझे मत सिखाओ कौन सेक्युलर है कौन नहीं सेक्युलर. नाउ टू यू Zaka, what I want to tell you is that there were 29 parties in this initially.
मैडम जी को जवाब देगा.
हाँ, no, let her finish.
अभी मत दे दो, मैं आपको और भी जवाब देंगे. और about this 29
जवाब देगा हम बैठ के.
29 parties.
हम भी देगा.
Zaka, I want to answer your question.
हम भी देगा. हमारे मुंह में जुबान है. हमको आपसे अच्छा बोलना आता है.
Waris ji, I'm coming to you. Let her finish. Yeah. Yes, Dr. Shama Mohammed, you still haven't answered my question.
29 parties are there, and we knew in the beginning it's not an easy thing, but it's never happened in the history of India. Now, talking about, we knew we would have problems in 3 states, basically, that is in West Bengal with TMC, because we have also said that the local leadership has to be spoken to also. Kerala for sure. We will have no alliance. And of course, we knew Punjab because we are the principal opposition. So if we have an alliance with being the principal opposition, there is no. So we know these issues.
Shama Mohammed, what about Maharashtra? That was a state you were supposed to not have any problems with. You had a fully functioning coalition there.
I agree with you.
All your leaders there are leaving. What is happening there?
Our leaders all are not leaving. There are a few
Some
of them.
significant ones are leaving.
No, there are a few of them, and that, like you asked, like I'm asking also to this Tuhin Sinha, which he never answers. Nitish Kumar was abusing. He came to us saying that the constitution is under threat. So I don't understand what is the ideology of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Like I said in the manifesto in Meghalaya, Amit Shah said we will put them behind bars.
I keep coming back to this whole point that chief ministers are no ordinary leaders. Former chief ministers leaving your party or even your alliance, Nitish Kumar jumping ship is not a small ordinary event. But you still haven't fully explained why, why it seems to be a one-way exodus. Can you in the last 1 year, 2 years maybe cite for me examples? No, one second. Can you cite examples of BJP leaders who have quit and joined either Congress or other India alliance parties in the last couple of years?
We don't want BJP, but there are many leaders who joined us in Telangana from the BRS. We have now presently many other leaders joining us in Odisha. So we have had also a lot of influx coming into our party. During the Telangana election, a lot of people joined us.
Tuhin Sinha, again, please respond. She's taken grave offense to the fact that you suggested that the only party she has left to go is MIM. And she has taken grave offense to that because let him respond. You made a charge. She said that this is on religious tarnishing. Yeah.
And also, I'm a congresswoman.
Let him respond.
I'm absolutely shocked. Let him respond. I'm absolutely shocked, that unfair and, obnoxious motives are being attributed to my well-meaning comment, because I thought every politician in the Congress who wishes to see a bright future for him or her is quitting the party if she doesn't want a political future. And since we haven't heard of joining any other party, and since we know that Congress and AIADMK always have a hidden partnership, I suggested that. I don't know why such unfair motives should be attributed to a innocuous and well-meaning suggestion of mine. Now, when it comes to Congress, she has, rebutted my claim or, tried to rebut my claim on corruption. The talent that Congress has to covertly carry out corruption is unparalleled. Look at Dheeraj Sahu in Jharkhand. He's a 3-time Rajya Sabha MP. Have you ever heard any speech of his or any mention of him, during parliamentary activities? How come he amasses a wealth of 352 crore in cash? How come he, is responsible for, the car found in the house of JMM Chief Minister in Delhi is traced to his residence in Delhi? So I think, the talent, the art that Congress party has in inculcating, in bringing about such people in politics and in carrying out their secret corrupt activities is unparalleled, and that is what is ending today.
Varis Pathan, you fight 9 seats in Telangana and you fight 90 seats in Uttar Pradesh. Who is funding your party? That's the charge from the Congress spokesperson.
Well, with great respect, I will answer to Shama Madam Ji. She has leveled certain allegations against us, and let me tell her, Madam, how many seats to contest, from where to contest, we don't have to ask you. Who are you? Do we ever ask you why Rahul Gandhi contests from, why does he not contest from Telangana? Do we ask you from where are you getting the money from the Yatra? Allow me.
This is not the way.
Did I ask you?
Please, let him respond, yeah.
Did I ask you where are you getting the money for your yatra? Did I ask you? You are getting so many people are going on in the yatra. I did not ask you. From where to contest, how many seats to contest, that is me and my party will decide. You have to answer to the question why the people are leaving your party. Why ex-CM who was present yesterday in the Maharashtra meeting, who was present in all the IND alliance meeting, why is he leaving? You know why? Because of the arrogance of your party leaders, of your senior party leaders. And there is no far when the entire Congress, I think so, will go and join the BJP. Today people are asking us, sometimes back people also ask us, why are you not joining the IND alliance? We said, why should we join the IND alliance? They are already sitting in the lap of the BJP. One by one everybody is going there. Kejriwal is fighting election separately. Mamta Didi said you will not cross even 0 seats. So why, first look into yourself. Do a self-introspection that why people are leaving your party, and then come to us and give us advice that why are we not contesting on so many seats there, or why are we not contesting there. Kindly look into that. But the main question is why they are leaving. And answer to my question, did your leaders who are joining the BJP, did not they took the votes in the name of secularism? Did they not fool the Muslim community? Did they not fool the minority community? Did they not fool the Dalit community? They fooled everybody. They took the votes. And now what is the situation? They are gone and sit there with the BJP. So is it not a cheating? Now why would the nation vote for you? Because you are taking the vote. If the people want to vote, they will vote directly to the BJP.
That would equally apply to the RLD as well. So let me ask the spokesperson of the RLD. For the longest time in Western
Of course,
Uttar Pradesh,
yes, in UP.
it was said, Manisha ji, that
RLD, the Uttar Pradesh Muslims supported the RLD during the UP elections when they were in
your vote
alliance
bank
with the
is
Samajwadi.
Jat and Muslim.
Today with what
Now
says they will
suddenly
go
you
before
have
them.
jumped ship and joined the
And
NDA. What will you tell one half of your constituency?
So let me first state here that with all these allegations flying across of corruption and everything, our party is spotless. Our leaders have never, not just our leaders, even our party members have never been accused, or there has been no cases on any of our leaders. So we are spot free that way. That's why we are not going into any washing machine. And that's why we can stand by our values. We have no such pressures on us. We have no ED coming after us. So we stand by the Muslims, the farmers. So don't reduce us to Jats and Muslims, because just those two voters cannot, are not our strength. And I will give credit again to the NDA alliance. They recognized, उन्होंने पहचाना जयंत चौधरी का जलवा, उनको पता है कि उनकी पहुंच कहां तक है, 40 जिलों पर वो इन्फ्लुएंस करते हैं, and that's what this alliance has recognized, and that's what they will benefit from.
आपने फॉर्मल अलायंस नंबर ऑफ सीट्स तय करके पब्लिकली अनाउंस कर दिया था, उसके बाद आप जा रहे हैं एनडीए के साथ.
That's our party leader's decision, and I believe he must have reasons and a strategy behind that.
No, fair enough. You are free to go with whoever you want to go with. All I am asking you is, isn't that a politically charged decision that you see better political prospects with the NDA rather than with the India alliance? That's why you have decided to go. ये बात तो सच है ना?
Yes, of course, we are in politics. We are in politics. We have to look at political advantage, and if we are strong in politics, then only we can help our constituents. We are not here for activism. We are here for politics. We are a political party.
This is the moot point, Shama Mohammed. This is why the BJP keeps winning and the Congress plays catch up. She just explained. You're in politics. You're not running an NGO. You're not here for activism. You're here to win elections and to grab power, because it's through power that you can you can activate change, societal change, political change. But your leader is stuck in a yatra when he should be campaigning, fighting elections.
I don't agree with you, Razaka. Before 2014.
No, this is just what the RLD spokesperson said. You respond to her.
RLD can say what she wants, because what they're doing is not right. See, when you have come across and said what Mr. Modi is doing is wrong, I've heard Mr. Chaudhary's speeches many times and all those, and they came into the India alliance feeling that, but then you can't just change your mind because a Bharat Ratna was given. I mean, I don't agree on that. Now, that is their thing. They are a small party. What I believe is they
Bharat Ratna is not a small thing, first of all.
So I don't think that is the reason.
And it was given to the ultimate tallest leader of their party, of farmers.
I didn't say it's a small thing. I said it's a small party. Why are you misinterpreting my words?
Fair enough. It's a small party. But for them, Chaudhary Charan Singh is a big factor and Bharat Ratna is a big factor. Let's not dismiss that. Anyway, go ahead.
I'm very happy that he got the Bharat Ratna.
Zaka, we are a small party, but we have big influence, big impact.
They are a small party, and small parties like Ram Vilas Paswan just jump here and there. That is, it doesn't come into my picture now.
But Shama Mohammed ji, simple point that Manisha ji just said, please reflect on that and answer that. Ultimately, in politics, you have to win elections. You're not here for NGO activity. You're here for political activism, for capturing power.
Also, let me
there is no NGO activity here.
Let me also say that you are belittling.
It's my time to
when
speak.
You belittle.
There is no NGO activity.
Let her respond, Manisha ji. Let her respond. Yeah. No, this is what she said. You're not here for political activism. You're here to win elections.
She can say what she wants. I don't even know who she is. Sorry to say that. Now, what I'm trying to tell you is, somebody comes and tells me that, okay, somebody on the road is walking and say you're doing NGO activity, I should listen to that person. What are you telling me, Zaka? What I'm trying to say is that
Please don't belittle the people of India. They are entitled to an opinion.
I am not belittling anybody.
No, they are entitled to their opinion, and surely they can say what is wrong with the Congress party.
You can't compare
because the Congress party has to start winning elections.
To that, Zaka.
The Congress party has to start winning elections. If your leader is not interested in elections and is doing a yatra in the middle of campaign season, I'm sorry. And then you turn around and ask, why is Congress party not winning elections? Because of this.
That is your thought process.
No, that's not my thought process. Somebody who was your ally till day before yesterday is saying that. I'm not saying this.
No, she can say because they were greedy because they were given something and they said, I know when we form the government, we become a minister.
Okay,
so that's called greed. There's nothing else. That's called greed. I'm sorry, we believe in an ideology. See what has happened right now, Zara.
Can I respond?
Yeah, Manisha ji, quick response because she talked about the RLD. Quick response after that. I need to close. Yeah.
Yes.
Manisha Alawat. Yeah.
I want to say that in one statement, she has belittled the legacy of Chaudhry Charan Singh ji. She has belittled my party, and she has belittled me. And where will this arrogance take you? Where will this arrogance take you? I mean, you're belittling the small, you're calling us a small party. Madam, these small parties make a big alliance. You must recognize the smaller parties and give them their due credit. And, your India alliance is going nowhere because of this arrogance.
Okay. All right, we'll leave it at that. I'll see how this story plays out for both the BJP and, of course, the India alliance in the run-up to. But I think one thing is very, very clear, that as the yatra progresses and as more and more leaders, whether it's Congress leaders leaving the Congress party or other alliance partners like Nitish Kumar jumping sides, or even the ones who are still part of the India alliance like Mr. Kejriwal, Ms. Mamata Banerjee, saying that they're going to fight on their own in the states where they are strong, this does not give confidence to the fact that here is an alliance that can take on the BJP, the might of the BJP, the election winning machine that the BJP has become. So clearly, in terms of momentum, in terms of going into this election, clearly with each passing day, the India alliance, and it's very, some would say, raison d'etre. The reason it's come together is to take on the BJP to unseat Mr. Modi. That raison d'etre itself is sort of coming apart. But be that as it may, let's see how this story plays out. Stranger things have happened in Indian politics. The underdogs have won quite a few times. But I want to talk about an important story. Tuin referred to this in the earlier part of the program. Qatar has released 8 Indian Navy personnel, veterans who were sentenced to death over espionage charges. 7 of them have already returned to India after an 18-month jail custody. The Navy veterans have thanked Prime Minister Modi for personally intervening and bringing them back home. In December last year, the Prime Minister had met the Emir of Qatar on the sidelines of the COP28 summit in Dubai. Foreign Secretary Vinay Quatra said that Prime Minister had monitored all the developments in this case and was committed to the safe return of these naval veterans. Initially, their sentence got commuted from death to life, and then late last night, there was a statement put out by the MEA saying that all 8 of them have now been let free, and 7 out of those 8 have come back to India.
खुशी हो रही है कि वापस इंडिया पहुंच गए हम सेफ एंड साउंड, और डेफिनेटली ऑनरेबल प्राइम मिनिस्टर श्री मोदी को धन्यवाद करना चाहेंगे कि उनके पर्सनल इंटरवेंशन से ये पॉसिबल हुआ.
ये वाले दिन का हम बहुत दिनों से वेट कर रहे थे, और प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी और उनका पर्सनल इंटरवेंशन, उनका इंटरेक्शन, और एक और मौका लेना चाहता हूं कि थैंक करूंगा एमीर को कतर के, जिनके उनके इंटरेक्शन के कारण आज हम यहाँ खड़े हैं.
We have waited almost 18 months to be back in India. We are extremely grateful to the Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji. It certainly wouldn't have been possible without his personal intervention and that equation with the Emir of Qatar. I think we are grateful to the Government of India, from the bottom of our heart, for the every effort that has been made, and this day wouldn't have been possible without it.
Honorable Prime Minister has himself personally, constantly supervised all the developments in this case and has never shied away from any initiatives that would ensure the return of Indian nationals back to home. We can talk of different frames and terminology, like Sridhar you mentioned, whether it's a release or a pardon, etc. But I think we should see the facts for what they are. 7 of the 8 Indian nationals of Aldhara case are back in India, back to their homes. As I said, we are extremely gratified about it and appreciate deeply the gesture of the Emir of Qatar for their release.
All right, I want to go across to former Foreign Secretary, in fact, Kanwal Sibal. Thank you very much, Mr. Sibal. This is quite an extraordinary turn of events where you had these 8 former Navy veterans who were sentenced to death, and then suddenly in the space of the last 2 months or so, the death got commuted to life, and now they have been set free, apparently pardoned by the Emir of Qatar. Have you seen something as dramatic as this, and what would you attribute this to? Because the charges against them were pretty grave. Espionage charges are not light charges, that any country levels.
Well, firstly, this is unprecedented in any case. I can't recall of a case where ex-Navy personnel of any country have been imprisoned in this manner for 18 months or whatever the period, and then sentenced to death, and then given varying years of imprisonment as in a judgment by the higher court. Actually, in a sense, it was humiliating that a country like India should be subjected to this publicly. The other thing, of course, was that, so far as I know, the charges against them of espionage or anything else have never been spelt out clearly. It is essentially speculation. And I must say that from our side, the government right from the start, despite public pressure and despite commentary in the media, played it very cool, very cautiously, made it known that this was a very sensitive matter which should not be discussed in public, and that all efforts were being made to actually ensure that justice is meted out to these Navy personnel, and that appeals will be filed and the best legal opinion will be taken. And I think the Indian Navy has also been very much involved in formulating the strategy and everything else.
Okay.
And this they have maintained right from the start. I think this was a very wise strategy, because given the nature of the Arab states and how they function and what the judicial system is, and power really lies with the Emir, it would have served no purpose in getting into polemics and trashing the judicial system of Qatar and making it appear and saying publicly that this was injustice.
I do want to ask you, though. I mean, these are completely unsubstantiated. It's doing the rounds of Twitter more than anywhere else. That there was some kind of LNG deal that was agreed upon, and now we have official word from the MEA that after Dubai and Abu Dhabi, in fact after Abu Dhabi, the Prime Minister will be going to Doha on his way back for a bilateral visit. Do you see merit in any of that? Like I said, we have no independent way of confirming or denying any of those, but this is what people are saying on social media.
A couple of things. One is that if you recall what was being said even then, that you can't interfere in an ongoing judicial process, and that ultimately the Emir can give his pardon.
Yes.
And that the strategy of last resort was to seek a pardon from the Emir. So this was on the cards. And I think most rational people believe that whatever the courts had decided, they're not going to hang these people or give them long years of imprisonment, and that ultimately they will be pardoned. I think the critical thing was when Prime Minister met the Emir of Qatar in COP27 or whatever it was.
COP28,
Dubai, COP28 in Dubai. And he actually made a very subtle statement that the Indian community is doing very useful, sterling work in Qatar, and the very valuable work and everything else. In other words, he publicly reminded the Emir of the great contribution that the Indian community was making. So to that extent, I must say that the conversation that Prime Minister had with Emir was the clinching one. And I think it was on the cards that the pardon would be given with regard to the oil deal that LNG deal that you're mentioning.
Yeah.
Qatar is the biggest supplier of LNG to India. And there have been discussions going on for a long time for a prolongation of this deal. Now, according to reports, a $75 billion deal until 2048 has been signed, but at prices which apparently are lower than what Qatar sells to China. So, given the program that we have in India of switching over to LNG in a very, very big way, where do you get the LNG from? Qatar has excess capacity. It is next door. It makes a great deal of economic sense to buy this from Qatar because Australia and others are far away. So to that extent, it's a rational deal. Now, whether there is a connection between one and the other is difficult to say. But I would say that we would not succumb to this kind of blackmail and pressure that you buy more LNG from us and then we'll give pardon. Okay. I think the pardon was given because it would have been far too serious for Qatar-India relationship, to allow
to send them to the gallows. All right.
Okay. But the other last point is that Qatar also sees how much India is investing in its relationship in the Gulf countries.
Correct.
UAE, Saudi Arabia, elsewhere. They can't ignore this. And India is a huge market. And they have to protect long-term interests. We are a huge energy market in the future. So I think a lot of pragmatic decisions have been taken on all sides, and it is fortunate, but the credit must go to the Prime Minister, as our naval personnel all of them have said.
All right, Mr. Sibal, we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much for your thoughts and articulating what you believe was the reason for this pretty dramatic turn of events around these 8 naval personnel who, like I said, were first sentenced to death for alleged espionage, and now it's commuted and they've now been released by the Qatari government, and in fact 7 out of 8 have already reached their homes. And talking about the Middle East and what is going on there, the Israel-Hamas conflict, we do a deep dive into Rafah, which is the southernmost city between Gaza and Egypt. A massive offensive has started by the Israeli Defense Forces. They are saying that this was to free 2 hostages who have now been freed out of the 100 plus who are still in the custody of Hamas. But this is exactly what Israel's biggest friends and allies, the US, Britain and others, had been warning against, that you cannot go into a city of 1.4 million displaced Palestinians and start bombing, because that would lead to disproportionate civilian casualties. But the Netanyahu government has decided to go ahead in any case. So, could this possibly be the final nail in Hamas's coffin, as Israel would want it to be? That deep dive coming right up. Israel's military said early Monday that it had conducted a wave of attacks on Rafah. That's the city in Gaza to which more than 1 million displaced Palestinians have fled to. Rafah is also the southernmost border crossing between Gaza and Egypt. At about 3 a.m. local time, the Israeli military said on its Telegram channel that its strikes were on quality targets, and it went on for 3 hours. Images and videos on social media, which could not be immediately verified, showed injured people as well as damage to buildings. News outlets in Israel reported deadly attacks on 2 mosques inside Rafah city. Eyewitnesses also said that injured people were being seen taken to the Kuwait hospital right in the heart of Rafah city. But the attack on Rafah comes after weeks of warnings from Israel's most important allies, as well as international humanitarian organizations. The United States and Britain had warned Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu not to go ahead with his plan to send in troops into Rafah. The United Nations had said that Palestinians there are running low on food, clean water, and medicine. The UN Refugee Agency had also warned that a ground assault would risk exacerbating what is already a human catastrophe. Prime Minister Netanyahu promised over the weekend to offer Palestinians safe passage to the northern areas of Gaza before the planned ground invasion. But no such mass evacuation was reported just hours before the bombing assault began on Rafah. Netanyahu said that Israel had no choice but to finish its assault on Hamas. His contention is that some of Hamas's top leaders and even some of their military commanders who were behind the October 7th terror attack are hiding amongst civilians inside Rafah. The United Nations and other aid groups have said that people in Rafah have nowhere else to go. Many of the over 1 million people who are packed into Rafah have already been forced to leave their homes at least once to escape Israeli attacks since the start of this war. President Joe Biden of the US had warned Prime Minister Netanyahu that a ground offensive in southern Gaza should not proceed without an explicit plan to protect the civilian population that's been clustered there. More than 1.4 million people are cramped into a city that is no more than 20 square miles in area. There have been various signs in the last few days of growing frustration by the White House over rising civilian deaths in Israel's military assault. Both Biden and Bibi spoke over the phone on Sunday, and according to officials who were present during the call, it was a stormy affair. According to a description from the White House, the two leaders also discussed the ongoing negotiations with Hamas to release Israeli hostages in Gaza in exchange for a ceasefire and the release of Palestinian prisoners who are held in Israeli jails. Last week, Netanyahu had bluntly rejected, he called it ludicrous, a response from Hamas in the negotiations that called for Israel to withdraw from Gaza. It also asked for the freeing of Palestinian prisoners in exchange for the release of more than 100 Israeli hostages who are still in captivity in Gaza. But both American and Israeli officials have said that there is still room for compromise in these negotiations. Netanyahu's office said it would be impossible to realize Israel's goal of smashing Hamas without destroying the group's 4 battalions that are inside Rafah on the border with Egypt. The military's combined plan would have to evacuate both civilian population and topple the battalions both at the same time, and this was confirmed by a statement put out by Prime Minister Netanyahu's office. That statement further goes on to say that any forceful action in Rafah would require the evacuation of the civilian population from combat zones. President Biden issued some of his sharpest criticism of Israel's conduct in the war. He called Israel's response over the top. He also added that starvation, suffering, and the killing of civilians had got to stop. His criticism, which dominated Israeli news headlines, revealed growing frustration between Biden and Netanyahu as the death toll in Gaza has gone upwards of 27,000. In fact, Biden and Bibi have had a stormy relationship for over 30 years, from the time that Biden used to head the Senate Foreign Relations Committee back in the 80s and 90s. But things have not been as bad as they are in the last few months since the start of this war. About 1.4 million Palestinians are sheltering in Rafah after the Israeli military invaded Gaza. Before the Israeli assault, the IDF had ordered people in Gaza to evacuate from the northern and central sections of the Strip and instead go south. Many of them ended up in Rafah. Many people, in fact, have moved multiple times over the last 4 months. For a large chunk of the embattled population there, they say that finding enough food, water, and medicine has become a daily struggle. Back on Friday, the UNICEF warned against any escalation in Rafah, where according to UNICEF estimates, more than 600,000 children and their families are currently displaced. Thousands more could die in the violence or simply by lack of essential services and further disruption of humanitarian assistance. This was a statement put out by the agency's executive director, Catherine Russell. A major challenge for Israeli forces will be how to move civilians who have crowded into the city out of harm's way and yet carry out their military objectives. Many Gazans had fled to Rafah on instructions from the Israeli military to avoid fighting in the northern part of the Strip. In the last week, there's been a chorus of international leaders who have expressed concerns that the people there simply have nowhere else to go. The prospect of an assault on Rafah was already creating tensions with Egypt. Egypt is the country which is the nearest border point on the south side of Gaza. The Egyptian side fears that a full-fledged assault by Israel will result in a destabilizing influx of Palestinian refugees across its border. Egypt has been loath to accept any new Palestinian refugees into its borders. Egypt also is an important strategic partner for Israel. It has played a key role in negotiations between Israel and Hamas with the aim of the release of more Israeli hostages who are held by Hamas. The Biden administration has also raised concerns over fighting during the Muslim holy month of Ramadan. An attack during Ramadan, which is expected to start on the 10th of March, though the exact timing depends on when the moon is sighted over Mecca, the holiest place for Muslims, it could be viewed as particularly provocative if Israel were to carry out a full-fledged attack, both air and ground assault on Rafah during the month of Ramadan. That would be provocative to Muslims both in the region and around the world. But some Israeli officials have dismissed those concerns. Egypt, in fact, went to war against Israel. The famous Yom Kippur War in 1973, that was during Ramadan. Even the United States, during Operation Desert Fox against Iraq and Saddam Hussein, had attacked during the holy month. But one thing is clear, the pressure on Israel to curb civilian casualties will only increase manifold once the Rafah operation goes into full swing. There is a downside to how much Netanyahu can disregard the international community's growing concerns on the number of civilian casualties. Will Operation Rafah bring down Hamas, or will it revive another round of terror in the wider Middle East? The next few weeks could be critical in which way this war is headed.
Life sentences be reduced or them being released. So it needed highest level intervention, and most likely Prime Minister Modi himself was involved in this entire negotiations as to how these Navy veterans will be possibly released and safely brought back home. We have already seen in the last few years many times Indian nationals whoever have been trapped in wherever, in whichever part of the world. Indian government has tried to bring them home safely, be it the evacuation in Yemen or in Russia-Ukraine war, or we have seen happening in Sudan also, where this conflict has risen. So Indian government has always taken care of all these people who have been struck in whichever part of the world. And this is another example where these 8 Navy veterans who were a part of some, some legal hassle, and they were awarded life sentences also. They have now been released. All of them, 8 of them have been released. 7 of them have already arrived in Delhi.
And when can we tentatively expect the 8th one to come back home also, Abhishek?
Well, there has not been any possible deadline, but we do understand that as soon as those documentation process will be over, the 8th person will also be here in Delhi.
Definitely, Abhishek. Thank you so much for bringing us all those crucial about that good news as far as the relationship between India and Qatar is concerned. Well, it's about a huge diplomatic victory for India. The 8 former Indian Navy personnel detained in Qatar have been released by Qatar court. We are learning that 7 out of them have returned home already. The government of India has welcomed the release of these Navy veterans. 7 out of the 8, ladies and gentlemen, have returned to India and have been welcomed by our government as well. Take a look at some of the reactions that we have received from ground.
खुशी हो रही है कि वापस इंडिया पहुंच गए हम सेफ एंड साउंड, और डेफिनेटली ऑनरेबल प्राइम मिनिस्टर श्री मोदी को धन्यवाद करना चाहेंगे कि उनके पर्सनल इंटरवेंशन से ये पॉसिबल हुआ.
ये वाले दिन का हम बहुत दिनों से वेट कर रहे थे, और प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी और उनका पर्सनल इंटरवेंशन, उनका इंटरेक्शन, और एक और मौका लेना चाहता हूं कि थैंक करूंगा एमीर को कतर के, जिनके उनके इंटरेक्शन के कारण आज हम यहां खड़े हैं.
We have waited almost 18 months to be back in India. We are extremely grateful to the Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji. It certainly wouldn't have been possible without his personal intervention and that equation with the Emir of Qatar. I think we are grateful to the Government of India, the bottom of our heart, for the every effort that has been made, and this day wouldn't have been possible without it.
CNN News 18's Abhishek Jha is joining us live on the broadcast, who has been tracking this story very, very closely. Abhishek, it's a very good step that has been taken. People are actually congratulating Prime Minister Modi and his diplomatic relationship with Qatar as well. But my question to you is about that 8th person, because we are learning that only 7 out of 8 have returned home. What about the 8th one?
It's some diplomatic or documentation work that is pending, and that is why, because the one of the person has not returned. But the good news and the huge diplomatic achievement for India's diplomats from both in Delhi and Qatar is that these 8 Navy veterans who have been languishing in jail of Qatar for about 18 months and who were sentenced already, now they have been released, and all of them will be in Delhi very soon. 7 of them have already arrived, and they have. We just heard them thanking Indian government and the diplomatic outreach to the Qatar summit. We have all seen how during the COP summit, Prime Minister Modi had a small interaction with the Emir of Qatar as well. And the kind of relationship India has had with Qatar that has clearly helped achieve this major, achievement, where 8 Indian Navy veterans were under the Qatar in Qatar's jail, and there were some serious charges against them also that had resulted in some of them with a harsher punishment. But now we know that all of them have arrived, all of them have been released, and 7 of them have already arrived in Delhi.
Definitely, Abhishek, and it's a big example of the relationship that India and Amirs of Qatar actually share at the moment. Have you received any, reaction coming in from the government of India thanking maybe Qatar for releasing all these Navy personnel?
Well, the government of India has released a very small press statement that says that 7 out of 8 have already arrived in Delhi, and they have said that we appreciate the decision by the Amir of State of the Qatar to enable the release and homecoming of these nations. So clearly, kind of thanking State of Qatar for releasing all these Indian nationals who were in the jail of Qatar, and it's this kind of big achievement because we know that especially these Muslim countries, they need some very high-level negotiations to have such sentences, such life sentences, be reduced or them being released. So it needed highest level intervention, and most likely Prime Minister Modi himself was involved in this entire negotiations as to how these Navy veterans will be possibly released and safely brought back home. We have already seen in the last few years, many times Indian nationals, whoever have been trapped in wherever, in whichever part of the world, Indian government has tried to bring them home safely, be it.
Hello, Namaskar. This is First Post and you're watching Vantage with me, Palki Sharma. We're still tracking Pakistan. It's more drama than we signed up for. Imran Khan's candidates have come on top, but they cannot form the government. They're not a party. Nawaz Sharif has a party.